It's the Weather Xtreme video. This is the morning edition for Thursday, the 1st of September. Yep, beginning of meteorological fall. Not that the weather's going to feel much differently today. Of course, all the attention is on the tropical storm in the Gulf of Mexico, so let's dive right into it. First off, the upper air look. This is the pattern at 500 millibars. And you can see that we've got some changes here. We've got a trough beginning to form over the eastern U.S., kind of a higher amplitude pattern. And the trough over the east will help to pull Hermine northeast tonight out of the Gulf. Temperatures are in the 70s as this day begins. We'll expect a high in the lower 90s today. In terms of severe weather with Hermine, there is the standard slight risk of severe weather for parts of North Florida for today and tonight. This includes places like Tallahassee, Gainesville, Jacksonville, up into parts of Georgia, including Savannah. And then tomorrow, we've got the standard slight risk of severe weather from North Florida through Southeast Georgia, up into the coastal plain of South Carolina and North Carolina as Hermine moves northeast. Then on day 3, a marginal risk over far eastern North Carolina. So we might see a few isolated tornadoes in the spiral bands on the east side of the circulation center of Hermine. Now, this is the rain for the next 5 days, valid through Tuesday morning of next week. Just huge numbers, all the way from the northeastern Gulf to Long Island, almost up to Cape Cod. And there's some uncertainty as you get to the northeast with this thing. But again, for Alabama, you can see a fairly tight gradient. The southeastern tip of the state, down around Dothan, they might wind up with an inch or two from this thing. But for the rest of the state, it's relatively dry, although we've got some uncertainty introduced with the potential maybe for some rain showers in here with this thing coming in tonight or maybe tomorrow. We'll talk about that as we go. But here's the big picture, and we're not going to focus on Gaston. That's on the way out. TD8 just never developed. It's on the way out. We note the wave in the far eastern Atlantic. It is in the middle of very dry air. It's just choking the thing off. If anything survives, it might make a run for the Leeward Islands, but we just don't know because, again, it is in the midst of very dry air. Conditions might be a little more favorable in a few days. We'll just watch that. All right, this is Hermine in the Gulf. Estimated winds at 60. I say estimated. Hurricane hunters are in and out of there, so probably the latest measured sustained winds, 60 miles per hour at the surface, moving north-northeast at 12. Thought we'd check first off the radar coming out of Tampa Bay. The good news, the rains have abated there for now. Tampa, St. Petersburg, there's some very heavy rain yesterday, but you can see the heavier rain is offshore at the moment. Here's the track. And again, last night, the Hurricane Center issued a hurricane warning from Mexico Beach, Florida. That's east of Panama City, down to the Suwannee River, the area in red. And again, the greatest concern will be along and east of where the center comes in. And it should come in tonight, somewhere below Tallahassee, east of Apalachicola. And then coming up into southeast Georgia, should be at a point near Wilmington, North Carolina, late tomorrow night, and then kind of starts to meander off the middle Atlantic coast over the latter part of the Labor Day weekend and early next week. This is where the surge will be a problem. We got coastal surge flooding is very likely with this. And again, we stress that's going to be east of the circulation center where it comes in. Panama City's on the dry side, the offshore flow side. Panama City's going to see some wind and rain, no doubt about that. But in terms of surge flooding, the areas in purple, from about Port St. Joe all the way down to Cedar Key, maybe Hernando Beach, something like that. Flash flooding inland will be a problem. Again, this is the expected rain shield with Hermine. Again, you can see some really big numbers from Tallahassee on up. The areas in orange, that's potential for 6 to 10 inches. Yellow is 4 to 6, and green is 2 to 4. So obviously inland flash flooding a concern as well. But as you saw, this thing kicks out. It's going to be gone by midday Friday, And the weather for the Gulf Coast will be pretty good for the Labor Day weekend, and we'll talk about that as we go. So let's look at modeling. This is the GFS at 1 o'clock today. This is at 500 millibars. You can see the troughing over the east. That'll pull that thing northeast. 1 o'clock today, where we are, we could see isolated showers, but like recent days, they should be few and far between. A lot of people will be dry. Highs up in the low to mid-90s. And, of course, Hermine is down in the Gulf. This is just after midnight tonight, 1 a.m. Friday. The GFS brings the center of circulation in a little to the east of Apalachicola at 1,000 millibars. And it is interesting to note that the GFS does paint a band of moisture wrapping in here basically from the Atlantic, from the east, up on the top of that thing. So I think we are going to need to amend the forecast tonight and call for some clouds and a chance of showers. Nothing heavy. It's still not going to rain in a lot of places, but I do think, as out of respect to this, we'll just mention some risk of rain tonight. Let's go to the European. Very, very consistent with the GFS. I mean, they are almost identical. The European a little deeper, 993 millibars, and it's got it in, again, east of Apalachicola. And the biggest wind, rain, storm surge will be along and east of that. No doubt there's going to be some wind and rain at Panama City and probably Destin, but it's an offshore flow, and coastal flooding will not happen there because it's all going offshore. I thought I'd show you the high-res NAM at the same time. This is valid at 1 a.m. Friday, just after midnight tonight. Notice it's got a band of showers developing on the top side of the circulation from about Heflin down to Brent. So we are going to, again, mention the chance of a few showers tonight out of respect to the modeling that has picked up on this. Some clouds, maybe some showers tonight. But again, the really big rain's down to the south. This is 6 a.m. tomorrow. And you can see that the really big rains will be the southeastern tip of the state. Ozark and Dothan, Houston County, basically. That's where the big effect of this thing will be in terms of rain. It'll be breezy there, but I don't think we'll have enough wind to do any major damage. There might be a tree or a power line knocked down somewhere. Okay, this is tomorrow at 1 o'clock. The GFS has this thing over southeast Georgia, still 1,000 millibars. And again, for us, I think the day tomorrow will be dry as it pulls down drier continental air. I think we'll probably mention maybe the chance of a shower for the far eastern side of the state out of respect to this. But again, for most of you, the day tomorrow will be dry. Saturday, Hermine is moving just northeast of Cape Hatteras, back out into the water. And again, for us, the air Saturday should be pretty dry. I know you see a green patch there, but looks like a day with a mostly sunny sky. The humidity comes down. Auburn football looks good Saturday night. I guess the chance of a shower, technically not zero, but we're sure not going to mention it. It looks like a great night for football. And again, you see some green on the Gulf Coast. Understand there could be a few scattered showers, but that's typical for the early part of September. You almost always have that chance. So we're expecting routine weather for the Gulf Coast for the Labor Day weekend. So Panama City, Destin, Gulf Shores, whatever. Just go down there and enjoy it. This is Sunday, pretty much the same thing. We're in a dry air mass. We're expecting highs for the weekend, 87 to 90 here with the lower humidity. Weather looks fine for the Gulf Coast. And again, Hermine is just kind of meandering up there. And it's going to be a real problem for the meteorologists working this thing up the middle Atlantic coast. It's got the thing just east of Delaware, Sunday at midday. And then Monday, it's got it southeast of Long Island, still in the water. And again, we should mention Monday, we're in a dry air mass. The high should be probably in the low 90s. And then Tuesday, the GFS has this as a broad low near Cape Cod. So Hermine just doesn't want to go away. And for us, moisture tries to increase, but again, I think we'll leave it dry with low 90s. And this is Wednesday of next week. Hermine finally starts to move out to sea. And again, we still look pretty dry. Here's a week from today, Thursday, September 1st. 594 Ridge just doesn't want to go away. The summer that's just hanging in there. Nice cool trough in the northwest, though. But for us, that looks kind of hot and kind of dry. This is the end of the forecast period. This is Saturday, the 10th. Still got ridging here, and it still looks pretty quiet. We'll check the numbers. You can see the numbers do come down a little bit for the weekend, and I do think maybe tomorrow and Saturday, many spots will be in the upper 80s, but the numbers creep back up with possibly mid-90s at times next week. Again, we typically get that first really good front of the fall season toward late September. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video this morning. We'll have notes in the blog. Next video here by 4 o'clock this afternoon. If you can't catch us this evening on the live stream or the television side, ABC 3340 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.